News Talk 1590 KVTA. We have guests. It's so nice to have people in studio with us. And we do have Jackie in this morning. Jackie, how are you? Homes with a Heart. How's life?
Life is really good.
Isn't it great?
You know what? You just make the best of it. You wake up and you look for three things that you're happy for, and it just makes your day.
And that's it. And that's one of those things. They say those moments of gratitude where you sit every morning and say, "What are you really thankful for?"
And it's really important that you do that. It's hard. It takes 21 days to create a habit, and but it's well worth it because it just becomes natural after a while.
Yeah, when it came to ice cream, it took me one day to create a habit. But I'm sure the 28 thing is a good average that we're talking. We have a special guest today.
We do. We have our wonderful, amazing, fantastic Elizabeth, a.k.a. Lizzy Clews.
Lizzy, how are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm doing very well.
It's really, really nice to have you on board this morning here at KVTA. So let's talk about it, Jackie. Who are the older youth in care, and how many are there in Ventura County? Great example right here.
Right. We got a great example with Lizzy, who is an emerging adult who had been in care for quite some time and then turned 18 and started the path towards adulthood. But to answer your question, between the ages of 16 to 25, we have about 200 youth that are in care currently that really need that extra wraparound support with a mentorship or, a permanent connection of sorts.
And it's true with all kids. When kids turn 18, they suddenly have a certain level of maturity. But even if they go off to college, they still have mentors with professors. Their parents are still in contact with them. The idea that you foster, take care of a child all the way up to 18, then it's bye-bye, that just won't work. It
really doesn't work. And even on the best days, I remember when Lizzy was 18, she was like, I know it all, I'm going to do it all, and I've got it all figured out, and that always isn't the case, even on the best days.
Yeah, I'm three times that and change, and I have no clue.
Yeah.
But it is important, though, to continue this care. So what are we looking for? Our listeners out there just wondering in this world, from the little kids all the way up to kids who are going into high school and hopefully moving on to a career, whether they go into a field that would be something, like hands-on carpentry, something like that. You were mentioning history. You'd like to be a history teacher was one of the things that could be possible.
Yeah, I'm in my last semester at Ventura College right now, and it is my goal to be a history teacher.
And that's it. Moving on to what school would you like to go to from Ventura?
I'm transferring to the University of Santa Cruz in the fall.
Well, that's
isn't it Go Slugs, isn't that?
Yeah, the banana slugs. The banana slugs. A good buddy of mine went there, and my sister-in-law went to UC Santa Cruz. Okay, you're going to have a good time there.
I know.
We'll have a fabulous time there. What a great selection, and congratulations for getting into that school.
Thank you.
Yeah, the UC is good. That's strong. So now we know Lizzy's smart, and she's going to be a history teacher. So let's talk about listeners. What should they know? How can they wrap their mind around this situation?
First off, your listeners are fantastic, and we always hear from them after we come on to your new show here. But we're actually asking for listeners to open their hearts and homes and to learn about how they can become a resource family or a mentor to one of our older youth. And we're looking for, a stable environment for them, whether it is bringing older youth into your home or just, like I said, becoming a mentor and being that rock for that youth and when they need you.
Your brain starts working differently, too, because one thing that is great about kids, and I have too, when they're very, very young, it's easy to entertain. It's easy to keep them busy. It's easy to keep them because they're not really thinking for themselves at that point. They just want food and a good time. And so you do things like pretend you banged your head on something and the kids laugh hysterically. They catch on to that around 12. And they're saying, really, you're going to do that again? So when you have the kids that are in that age group, you do have to start reacting to them differently. They're going to have issues with relationships. They're going to have issues with homework. They're going to have issues with maybe getting a job. And that's where a lot of parenting really comes in.
Yes, and, we always ask our families and mentors just to meet our youth where they're at. You don't have to be a super person. You just have to be there. You have to be present and listen and make them feel valued, because they deserve the best.
Mm-hmm. And that's the job of the person who can now mentor these children that go up there. So what is the window again when you're starting? Was it 16?
Right. We have a program called our ILP program, which is an independent living program, and we begin at that age to help them learn about the responsibilities of when you turn 18. What's it like to have a bank account, or turn on a utility, or a cell phone, or finding an apartment. And so they take classes, and we strengthen them. But still, when you turn 18, 18 is very young. I know we both have, kids, and if you can imagine at 18 saying, okay, well, good luck. We couldn't do that, and we can't do this with our youth that are in care. They need us, and they're resilient, and they're awesome. I remember Lizzy when she came at 16, and you were describing, they've got a little bit of an attitude, and, we kind of worked through some things, but Lizzy found some great outlets. She had a guitar, and I remember she would sit in the doorway of the group home that I was managing at the time, and she would, beautiful voice, and she was always just a step ahead. She always was thinking about her decisions, and a lot of kids at that age, struggle with that. And I think, in a small part, that was impactful, and there were other mentors in Lizzy's life as well that made a huge difference.
So it's a great question, Lizzy. Like, you were 16. What were you into at that age? Was music your big outlet? Was that the place?
I would say that I had a lot of outlets, but I think the resilience that Jackie speaks about right now was only possible because I had so many people along the way that really made me feel like I could do anything. And so I think that may have been what maybe separated me from some of my peers at the time. Yeah,
with me, I was just completely off the rails.
Me too.
I was such a pain for my parents. I really was. I was a lunatic, absolutely out of my mind. And
we'll have to share some stories off air.
Yeah,
sometime.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was a lot. And I could only imagine if that mindset would have been put into a position like that without a mentor. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I sincerely have no clue where I would have ended up. So this is why this is so important. Let's talk about advantages of becoming a resource family to the older youth.
Well, the advantage is being able to make an impact in someone's life, doing what really, really matters. And, I often, I'm a mentor, and, I think, this makes me feel so good to be able to be a mentor. And sometimes I would feel like, kind of selfish because it does make you feel so good. But instead I chose to embrace that because it's just, a positive, energy, for our youth. And, it doesn't have to stop. It can continue. Lizzy's now in her late 20s and we still have this relationship. It doesn't have to end. You develop these relationships and it just makes your life richer as a family.
So your experience overall, being a former older youth in care, quite good, I imagine.
I think if you asked me at the time and in the moment, I would say it was the worst thing ever. But coming like 10 years off of it now, having 2 kids of my own, and also just that real life experience, I tell people it's one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. I really don't feel like I could be in the place or in the position that I'm at now if I hadn't had so many warm people. I didn't have that one proverbial mother or father, but I had a lot of incredible sister and auntie-like characters in my life that really helped me form this amalgam of who I am today.
Yeah, I always say it was coaches, teachers, a little parent thing, and also the police that kept me in line. I'm dead serious, absolutely dead serious about that. So give us the one thing that was your biggest challenge, because mine literally was just to go around and, pardon my French, screw off. I was just a jokester, idiot, knucklehead, and I would always be out there rather than doing what I was supposed to do. It was always, Spence, did you read that book? And I said, no, I read this great Kurt Vonnegut book. The teacher would look at me and say, that wasn't the assigned work, but I read a book. What? And I would get into all these weird things, and I always had to be pulled back because that's the type of attitude I had in my fat head when I was, freshman through senior. Similar things for you?
I don't think that I ever really struggled academically, and I wasn't really the most confrontational person growing up, but I would say that, I struggled a lot, especially when assimilating to adulthood, like making that transition from adolescence to adulthood. And I really lacked a lot of emotional intelligence. And I think because I didn't have a lot of concrete examples of, emotional intelligence or good emotional health growing up, I didn't really know how to start internally. And if I would have started that journey a long time ago, I would have, gotten to this point a lot quicker. But I call myself a late bloomer. And
you did have a special person in your life. Was it Damon?
I did. I mean, I really had so many, but Damon was definitely the first person that I can go back to in my mind that I feel like really laid out the foundation for me, and that I feel like all the roads in my life right now lead back to him. And, I didn't thank him at the time. I didn't appreciate him. I didn't even want to know him. I just did. And, he just always showed up for me, and he always reached out even when, I wasn't reciprocating that. And, at some point I realized, wow, this person really does care about me, and this person is really genuine.
And Damon was the tutor that would come into the group home, and the girls would have an hour or two a week with Damon, and it was always a struggle to get everyone together for tutoring.
Well, I didn't need help with tutoring because I was basically like the smartest person ever, but we did bond over our shared love of classical music, and we just kind of went from there.
That's nice. Yeah, I worked at a classical music station for 2 years. I remember nothing, but it was a great 2 years. Also, your kids, great kids. How age are your kids?
I'm kind of biased, but I think they're pretty cool.
Ballpark age? Where are they?
So I have 2 boys. Ezra is 7 and Elliot is 3.
Okay.
I never thought that I'd be a parent because of my own experiences, and when it happened, I really surprised myself and probably everybody around me, and it's just the most fulfilling and satisfying part of my life now. So
I didn't hold a baby till I was 40. That's when I was 40 years old when my son was born.
And
I went,
just to add on to Lizzie's piece about being, single mom with her boys, and recently she was in a situation where she needed housing, and there was a rough spot, and she was in a hotel for a short amount of time, and we had a lovely family open their homes and heart and became a mentor. This gentleman's a fireman, and his wife visited with Lizzy, and I remember you called me afterwards, and the boys cried because they didn't want to leave the home that day. They loved it there. So you can probably tell a little bit more about.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to mention because it's like here I am back in school, nearly a semester away from graduating with 2 degrees, and still at this point in my life, there are times when I come into trouble and I need help, and I feel so lucky and thankful that there were so many, mentors that I had that I could reach out to. And it's like, even though they didn't necessarily have the answers for me, they were willing to do some work and to reach out to other people. And it's because of that I was able to locate this family in a city that I've never been in, and they had never met me, but they were willing to do that, and, it has made such a difference to me and my children as well, and it has allowed me to continue putting school at the forefront so I can become stable, both for myself and for my family.
Isn't it nice to see the generosity and kindness that many, many people have and to help you out like that? Very, very
It
nice.
is, and I've lived all over California, and I somehow always end up back here in Ventura. I've tried to leave like 7 times, so this is kind of like home to me now.
And my bracelet keeps going off.
But I do think that one of the reasons that I keep ending up back here is that Ventura County is so special. There are so many loving and generous people out there that are really willing to help. And
going to Santa Cruz is a good comp on that, too, by the way. I know you've been up there. That's a fantastic place. We're going to have more coming up here on News Talk 1590 KVTA.
Now,
clear the decks! Here it is!
Let's get back to the KVTA Morning Show with Spence.
All right, let's take this to another level.
On News Talk 1590 KVTA.
It's Jackie and Lizzy in with us this morning, and becoming a resource family is a huge part of this. So let's get the 3-minute wrap-up here, if we can, on being a resource family, what people can do, and how they can learn more, please.
Okay, well, to support our older youth, you can become a mentor. If you're a business owner, you can become a Businesses with Heart partner with us, or you can volunteer with one of our nonprofits. And how you would find out more about that is visit our website, which is homeswithheartvc.org. Again, that's homeswithheartvc.org. Or just give us a call at 805-654-3220. Like us on Facebook and Instagram.
It's easy to do. Lizzy, give us a little wrap-up here. One of the best Frisbee golf courses, by the way, is at Santa Cruz.
Good to know.
Good to know.
Drive by there sometime.
Bring a Frisbee.
As we were talking, one thing I was thinking about is that I think that people might be a little more hesitant to work with teenagers and older youth in out-of-home care because perhaps they feel like maybe they can't help or it's too late. But I just wanted to say that the people that I have met from, ages 16 and up continue to inspire and motivate me every single day. So I would challenge your listeners today to step up and to be one of the people that, has mentored me because you can make a difference.
And the difference you make, a lot of times when, older people, boomers, they say things like, why is that person that way? Well, maybe they didn't have the mentoring. Maybe they didn't have the wonderful, guidance that you had as a kid. And if we don't provide that, what do we think is going to happen? It's going to make things challenging for that child. And to get them into their late teens and adulthood, we do all need a little extra care. Mine is still ongoing. I'm seriously, I'm that guy. And it's, but I did have a lot of people help me throughout. So, Jackie, again, the contacts that people can use to get in touch and help.
homeswithheartvc.org. Give us a call at 805-654-3220. And thank you from the bottom of our hearts. This is such a privilege and honor to be able to share this message and to share about Lizzy, and it just warms my heart. It's one of the happy thoughts that you start your day with.
Great story, Lizzy. Thank you very much for coming in this morning here on News Talk 1590 KVTA.